Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode here at Catholic Table Talk Podcast. This is a podcast where everything Catholic is on the table for discussion. I am your host, William Saba, and thank you again for watching or listening to the show every single week. Flying solo by myself this week, but thank you for your continuing support of Catholic Table Talk. We are still continuing to grow, including now we have sponsors. Um, this show is sponsored by, or this episode, I should say, is sponsored by Ken Litchfield. Yes, he's been on the show before, the author of the book, How Old Is Your Church? We're doing a two-part series on that book. Here it is right here. How Old Is Your Church? An Introductory Guide to Catholic Apologetics by Ken Litchfield. You can find it on Amazon today at $5.99, so it's a very affordable book. Ken Litchfield, huge thanks for supporting us here, Ken. And get his copy of his book on Amazon. So that's today's show sponsor. If you'd like to support a show, an episode, or just us in total, please feel free to get a hold of me, and I'll send you with the complete guide of donations and sponsorship and all that stuff. So, with that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the show, and also hit the notification bar, a button on YouTube or Facebook, because you never miss a single episode or a new video or even just a post of what we're doing here at Catholic Table Talk. So make sure you do that. Of course, if you have any show or speaker requests, or like I said, if you have questions about donations or sponsorship, please email me them at catholictt@gmail.com. Again, the official email of Catholic Table Talk is catholictt@gmail.com, or just get a hold of me via message or something, but that's the official email. So, enough with that being said, let's dive into this week's show. I went back and forth on kind of a couple shows to do, what to do them on. I have people messaging me certain ideas, and so I'm kind of, and of course, not any show topic that is I think of or people are sending me is not a bad show topic, but I might want a person speaking or a guest on who can maybe know more about it or who can really explain more in detail, should I say, about it. So, this show, like I said, I'm flying solo. I just want to give you kind of insights. If you have not heard, um, if this is another year or so down the road, you listen to this for the first time or again, it's Fr Mike's new podcast he's doing. It's a Catechism year. So I'm going to kind of explain about that. Just a brief, article here from the Catholic News Agency. Fr Mike Schmitz next podcast, Catechism in the Year, starts January 1st, 2023. Fr Mike Schmitz, the voice behind the Bible in the Year podcast, will launch a new Catechism in the Year podcast on January 1st. For 365 days of 2023, Schmitz will read through the entire Catechism of the Catholic Church while providing explanation, insight, and encouragement along the way. According to the press release, the new podcast will be free on all streaming platforms, which is huge, as well as on the Hallow app. If you have not heard of Hallow Prayer app, I highly recommend that you get it. It does cost money, but it's a great app. So, and that's what I think helps the Bible in the Year podcast so much is it was on every single one. I was listening to it on Spotify at times. When it first came out, I was, and then I just went to the sessionpress.com website, Mr. Session Press website, and listened on there. It's whatever is handy, iTunes, Google, whatever. But about, what was it, halfway through, or, this time last year, it was kind of July or something, they came out with the YouTube channel with it, and I think that really helped it, too. Just because, Ascension is such a big name on YouTube, and they have they come up with that, it's really big. And I think I might have listened to a couple episodes on there as well. But yeah, looking forward to Catechism of the Year. The Catechism of the Catholic Church is a combination of fundamental Christian truths and the essential teachings of the Church. The official U.S. version of the text is more than 900 pages long. Now you might think, wait a minute, is there more? Isn't there more, more than one catechism? Yes, there is. Actually, Dan Egan and I did a show on this about a month ago, so I highly recommend that you go and watch that show. The show is called. Let me find it here. The Baltimore and other catechisms outline. So that show, episode is 54. Dan Egan was gracious enough to sit down with me and talk about other different catechisms. So yes, they are. There is different catechisms. They're all about the same though. It's just updated versions of it generally. That's the overall view of it mostly. So that's the catechisms. As section, the podcast publisher reports that Bible in Year podcast has gained 6.8 billion total listening minutes, as well as 300 million downloads to date. One of them, and I'm sure you are as well, in an announcement video, Fr Mike Schmitz said, "If your experience with the Bible year it took your life and started moving and started bringing you closer and closer to the Lord, that catechism in a year, I'm telling you, is going to put your prayer life and your relationship with the Lord into hyperdrive." Now, I would have to agree with that because I was thinking when I came out with the show, I was thinking about trying to get someone on the show to talk about with me the overall just reaction to the new podcast. But this is what it basically is. It's mostly kind of reaction, and I'm like I say solo, so this is just my opinion, my reaction to it. A lot of people, and I'm one of them. It was really great to do the Bible Year podcast, and to listen to Father Mike's explanation of it. But this is why I'm really excited for Catechism of the Year podcast. Okay, this is why I'm really excited here. A lot of people know about most of the stories, most of the readings in the Bible. You might go to, I mean, even if you don't really read it, just going to mass and listening to it. If you're fully participating that way, you are going to kind of remember the stories of everything that took place. But you don't really get into the full detail of it. That's where I think it really moves people, because it's really the connections. And Jeff Kennedy did a great one on it. But the catechism, I don't think I could be wrong, but in my opinion, I don't think a lot of people have a catechism. They don't really think about the catechism or catechisms, and they don't really read it. I was thinking a lot of young adults, they don't either, and that's the kind of problem because they're kind of next generation of Catholics coming up. If you're older, you might read it. You might have more read it in faith formation classes, which I think they still do. I would hope they still do, but it's probably not to the extreme that people did back, let's just say, in the 20th century or something. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. But like for me, I don't really read the Catechism that much, so I think diving into the Catechism and learning about the truths and the foundation of the Church, I think it's gonna be enormous. I mean, my guess is it's gonna do as well, as not maybe better, than the Bible in the Year. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. That's just my opinion because the Bible in the Year, I also remember, it wasn't just Catholics reading it. It was Protestants, atheists. It was everyone. So we all know that religion is under attack in America and under attack in the world. We all know that. Um, and a lot of people is against the Catholic Church, but I'm hoping I'm asking anyone who's not a Catholic listening to this, please listening and go through the Catechism of the Year, Fr Mike Schmitz, because then you can learn what the Catholic faith is all about if you don't know. So that's my 2 cents worth. Let me know what yours is in the comments below as we continue with the article. So, in preparation for Catechism in the Year, Ascension will publish a new version of the Catechism of the Catholic Church so that the podcast listeners can follow along. So, there you go. You might be wondering what Catechism and Father Mike will be doing. Well, Ascension will publish a new version of the Catechism so that you can follow along, like Jeff Cummings did with the Great Adventure Bible. Highly recommend it. I have that Bible. A very, very good, great Bible by Jeff Cummings. Really, I mean, it's so easy to follow along with Father Mike on that. You can see Jeff Cummings' show what he came on with us, and he talked about the Bible in your podcast as well as the Great Adventure Bible. You can find that way down at episode 18. The story of the Great Adventure Bible and the Bible in Your podcast with Jeff Cummings. That was episode 18. He came on and did the show. So maybe you have to have him back on the show, hopefully, and talk about the Catechism more in detail, too. So finishing up the article, he said the podcast webpage says, if you ever wanted to understand what it means to be a Catholic, and allows those truths to shape your life, which I was getting at, this podcast is for you. The page also includes a list of the goals of the podcast. Also, the section also includes some resources for keeping up to date with the Catechism Year news, including a Facebook group that listeners can join while waiting the January launch. Fr Mike Schmitz is Director of the Youth and Young Adult Ministry for the Diocese of Duluth, as well as Chaplain for the Newman Center at the University of Minnesota of Duluth, or UMD. Fr Mike attending St. Paul Seminary in St. Paul, Minnesota, and was ordained to the Diocese for the Diocese of Duluth in 2003. So, if you go to the webpage and have the links below and down below, it says, in this podcast, the Catholics will read the entire Catechism of the Catholic Church in 365 days, like Bible in the Year, understand the essentials of the Catholic faith and why they matter, which is huge. I mean, that's what I mean. I got so excited for Bible in the Year podcast, and now this one, I'm really, really super hyped about this one as well. See how the church teaching is rooted in the sacred scripture, as well as over 2,000 years of sacred tradition, encounter God's plan of sure goodness, transform their relationship with the church that Christ founded. And then the section goes on to say, if you ever wanted to understand what it means to be a Catholic and allow these truths to shape your life, this podcast is for you. We can't wait to share this incredible journey with you. Keep up to date on all things Catechism Year, or it's the abbreviation is CIY instead of BIY, CIY, by joining our Facebook group. So, like Bible in Year has a Facebook group. Highly recommend you join that if you have Facebook and you have not. Join that away, and same thing with this one. So, that is pretty much it. Like I said, I'll have the links below. But, I mean, overall response, I mean, when they came out, there was rumors that he was going to do this, just because Bible in the Year was such a big, well done. And I was going to talk about kind of Bible in the Year podcast, but they mentioned it in the article about almost 7 billion minutes and over, it was about 300 million downloads. That was up to date. Essentially, on their website, they still have about 250 million downloads. So, but yeah, so Bible in the year, like I said, and that's why I think the catechism is going to be so, but catechism in the year is going to be so big because a lot of people probably don't really read the catechism, um, daily or a lot. Like I mean, you should read your Bible daily. Um, a lot of people probably don't think of reading the catechism daily. Not a lot of people say read your catechism daily. They say you should read the catechism, but they kind of leave it at that. But that's why I think a catechism might be bigger than Bible in the year. I could be wrong, but I'm kind of that'd be huge if it was, because like I said, it's what the church stands on. So it's all the stuff that the church stands on. So that's my opinion. Um, yeah, and like I said, and maybe in the weeks to come I'll share more ideas about it, or like I said, we'll definitely touch base with this again. Once it probably launches here, and we'll try to get maybe Fr Mike on or Jeff Cummings back on to talk about it. And so be on the lookout for that. Like I said, join the Facebook group, stay up to date with the section, the website, follow section if you have not already. Um, and yeah, I think it's going to be a great podcast. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. And be on the lookout for the new catechism that session will publish. Like I say, it's all catechisms are basically the same. It's just what like Vatican II, what they uh, did differently, what did they signed in, or what did they vote on, like they kind of change this certain topic a little bit. That's what catechisms are new ones are doing, and like maybe Doctor Dan Egan, no, Dan Egan said, too. There's like 4 or 5 levels of the catechisms. You have one level for children, another one for teens, and then another one for kind of younger adults, and then you have like the advanced um, catechism, which you should be really, um, you have to really be older for it, but you should kind of go through the other ones first to kind of get the general sets, and then build your way up. He said up the pyramid. So, but yeah, I kept this podcast short like I was hoping to, but listen, we'll definitely touch base on this again in the coming months ahead. So really exciting. We'll say thank you to Father Mike, Jeff Cummings for doing this. God is working through you to impact people's lives. It's impacting my life and it's impacting, I'm sure, most of you listening to this. So I want to say thank you for that. Um, Please keep Father Mike and Jeff Cummings in your prayers. And everyone who's listening to the Catechism in your prayers as well. And can't wait for it. So, like I said, check out the links below. Comment what you think. If I'm right or wrong about the Catechism of the year, maybe bigger than Bible in the year. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to give me the comments. And we'll see you next time right here on Catholic Table Talk Podcast with another great show on topic. But until then, read your catechism, read your Bible, go to Mass, go to confession, go to sacraments, go be a great, holy Catholic witness to everyone out in the world. And we'll see you next time. God bless, God willing, right here on Catholic Table Talk Podcast, the podcast where everything Catholic is on the table.